Okay, so I've been gone for a little while. Basically just been busy with school, but I wanted to make a video, and I think it's the first one I've done this year, maybe the second. And so I wanted to do what every movie reviewer does and do a top 10 list of films from 2017. Number 10 for films of 2017 is Kingston, The Golden Circle. I really enjoyed this film. It really sticks to the ideals of the first one. It's got very similar tone, and they stuck with the one-take action scenes, which is something that a lot of people liked about the first one, including myself. It's got some really great performances in it, some really great cameos almost, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. My pick for number 9 is Atomic Blonde, which I saw, I think it must have been about May time. I'm probably completely wrong with that, but I saw it with a couple of friends and we really enjoyed it. It was a really cool action film. I think I described it at the time as Bourne but with a female lead, which actually, to be fair, makes perfect sense because I believe it's from the same director as the Bourne Identity. So if you like the Bourne films and you like Charlize Theron, which a lot of people do, then you will love this film. It's really well done, it's brilliantly shot, and I'd recommend it.
When the lights started out, they don't know what they heard. Strike the match.
My pick for number 8 is one film I haven't seen come up really anywhere. I did do a review of it, I think, when I saw it, and that's The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which stars Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman and is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. Well, similar to it, I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but I really enjoyed this film, despite it being one of the weirdest things I saw this year. It's definitely worth a watch if you want to see anything weird, or if you like The Lobster, you'll like this as well. It's definitely less comedic than The Lobster, which I think is kind of what it's set out to be anyway, so it's not trying to be funny and not being funny. It's very strange. It's got lots of kind of metaphors for life in it, and I think it's definitely worth a watch if you're interested in film or just interested in watching something weird. My pick for number 7 is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I thought it was one of the best things to come out of Marvel in a long time. I saw it twice, once with my dad and the second time with a group of friends, which was literally the next day, I think. I really enjoyed this film. It's really rewatchable. I think I've seen it about 4 times, 5 times now, and I'm never really bored of it, and the soundtrack again is fantastic. I think, you know, they really know what they're doing with the Guardians of the Galaxy films. Slightly concerned about Infinity War, but we'll see, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But this film is really funny, really good, great soundtrack, great performances, and just really rewatchable, so it's definitely worth a watch. My pick for number 6 is The Deaf Stalin, which stars Steve Buscemi, Jeffrey Tambor, and is from the writers of The Thick of It, which was one of my favourite TV shows. I think it's absolutely hilarious. I really enjoyed this film. I didn't really know it came out at the time. I thought it was something completely different to what it was, and then I found out it was from the writers of that, and I immediately went to see it and loved it. I did a review on it earlier in the year when I did see it, but say it's definitely one of my top 10 of the year, and I haven't really seen it come up anywhere else, so I think it's definitely worth a mention. It's really funny, and it's also kind of educational, so it's a win-win situation. I definitely recommend you watch it, and I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, brother.
My pick for number 5 is Detroit, which stars John Boyega and Anthony Mackie. To my knowledge, that's who I can remember. And it's directed by Catherine Bigelow, who has also done Zero Dark 30, The Hurt Locker, and Point Break, all films that I really enjoyed. And I loved this film when I saw it. I thought it was so intense and great and just insanely good at what it set out to do. And it tells the story really well, and it all flows like the whole time you're on the edge of your seat. And it's definitely one of the most intense films I saw in 2017, and it was one of my favourites. The trouble I have with it, because it would be much higher up the list, but the trouble I have with it is that it's not very rewatchable. The first time you see it, you're kind of like on the edge of your seat, you're like, oh my god, what's about to happen? But when you come to watch it a second or third time, you kind of know, so there's less tension, and the tension really helps the film to work better. But yeah, if you want to see something intense, something educational, something kind of politically enlightening, I guess you could call it, I recommend this film 100%. It's definitely worth a watch, even if it's not very rewatchable afterwards, and I hope you see it. My pick for number 4 is Ragnarok, directed by Taika Waititi, and obviously stars Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Hiddleston, is that the right name? Be annoyed if I get that wrong, I'll put it up there if it is wrong. And I really enjoyed this film. I think it was hilarious. I think it was incredibly well done, well directed, well written. The CGI was fantastic. The colours really brought a new side to the Marvel universe. Slightly concerned with the ending though, I wasn't 100% on it, but we'll see how that kind of continues on to Infinity War. I hope to see more of Taika Waititi's character, which was the best thing about the film. Had everyone in tears with laughter when we were watching it. Completely packed cinema when we saw it, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's definitely worth being on the best top 10 of 2017 list, and if you haven't watched it yet, then you definitely should. My pick for number 3 of 2017 is Baby Driver, which stars Ansel Elgort, Kevin Spacey. Bit controversial nowadays, but still. And it had John Bernthal, Jamie Foxx, John Hamm, and many other people that I can't remember, which is slightly annoying. But anyway, it's directed by Edgar Wright, which I think everyone on the planet knows now. If they didn't before, from the great Cornetto trilogy. I think this was my top pick of the film, my top pick of the year. But for some reason when I saw it a second time, I didn't love it as much, because the first time I saw it I thought it was just the best film I had ever seen. I think you kind of live in that world when you're watching it, and it makes you feel great, and it's also a really great action film. I think Edgar Wright described it as a car chase film driven by music, which I think is the perfect definition, and if you're interested in something like that, you will love this film. It is really great, and it's really rewatchable, and yeah, it was one of my favourite films of 2017.
And where down we go,
My pick for number 2 film of the year 2017 is Logan, with Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart and other people I can't remember. Sorry. Slightly saddened to see they weren't nominated for more Oscars. I think supporting actor, the child actor who I can't remember the name of, I'll put there, I think that she should 100% have been nominated for Best Supporting Actress in Logan. I think she's fantastic. She basically stole the film from Hugh Jackman, and it wasn't a bad thing. This film was exactly what I wanted. I waited a year for it. I had it as my wallpaper on my phone for a year, which is very sad, but I could not wait, and I could not have been more pleased with it than I was when I finally got around seeing it on the opening night. Oh, it's so good. It was the Wolverine film I've wanted to see since I saw this appalling thing here. Although to be fair, I did quite like a couple of the action scenes in that film. But yeah, Logan, fantastic. You should 100% watch it. It's my number 2 pick. And yeah. This would be my film of the year, but technically it didn't come out until January in the UK for me. So I don't really want to put it on the list because it's January 2018 rather than 2017. But if it wasn't that, then my film of the year would 100% be 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I thought it was fantastic. I've seen Martin McDonagh has done 2 other films, I believe. There's In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths, and I loved them both. I couldn't wait for this film. I thought it was going to be absolutely fantastic, and it really was. I think it's a lot darker than other Martin McDonagh films. It's so fantastic. Some of the character arcs, the way they change throughout the film, just expert writing on it. Like literally, it would 100% be my film of the year. But as I said, it came out in January in the UK, so technically for me, it didn't come out last year. And my number 1 pick for film of the year, I think a lot of other people have picked this as their film of the year as well, and I would not be surprised if that was the case, and that's Blade Runner 2049. It was the first review I did on this channel, which has like 10 views, which is great. But this film blew me away. The performances, the soundtrack, the special effects, the practical effects, the plot itself was fantastic, and I'm planning to do an analysis style video based on a scene from Blade Runner that links to a scene from Spike Jonze's Her, which I rewatched recently. They're 2 of my favourite films of all time, but there was a very similar scene in both of them, so I kind of want to break that down and say what it means, what it suggests, all this. But back to the main point, this film was amazing. My main concern though is that it might not be as good outside of the cinema. I think really being immersed in it is what made it fantastic. The soundtrack coming from big speakers all around you, it really just puts you in that world, and it's incredible, and I couldn't recommend it more, honestly. And I was very annoyed to see that Denis Villeneuve was not nominated for Best Director for it. Because I thought he did an absolutely incredible job. I think it's one of the most expertly done, perfectly performed films I've ever seen, never mind of last year. Yeah. I can't wait to see what Denis Villeneuve does next. I heard he was saying he wants to do Dune, which is a very poorly received film for very obvious reasons. Anyway, yeah.